What's up? It's your girl T's Corner with another Greenleaf character sketch, part 3. And we're going to delve into Faith. And we're not going to delve too far because we don't know too much about her. But I think it's imperative to do a character sketch on Faith because Faith is the catalyst for the television drama that is Greenleaf. Because if Faith had never died, then Gigi would have never come back. And all of everything else that has gone on would not have happened. So, Faith Greenleaf. Like I said, we don't know much about her. We do know that Uncle Mac raped her 20 years ago, or maybe longer. But everything came to a head 20 years ago and Gigi left. We do know that, I don't know, this weird sunlight. I don't know what is going on with that. It's like Jesus is in the picture or something. I guess that's good. But we learned that Faith was the Little Steps, I think that's what it's called, Little Steps preacher, which is sort of like children's church, and that her messages have been recorded, and once her property and all of her belongings are brought from her apartment and stored in her old bedroom, I'm assuming, her nieces get into it and they find a crack pipe and some other stuff, but they also find her recordings from the children's church program that she was preaching at. We also know that, you know, this trauma, which a lot of times manifests itself in this way, but because of what Uncle Mac did, Faith later on became a drug addict and whoever knows what else, because at that problem, when something has you so, you know, juking you really in your spirit to the point where you need something just to survive and get through the day to day, at that point there is nothing that you won't do to get what you feel like you need, and that is where Faith was. But the question for me is, did Faith drown herself, or was Faith murdered? I'm waiting to get into that and find out what happened on the night that Faith died, or the day, or whatever, because it's like hush-hush suicide, but we don't really know if that's what it is. Was it really a suicide or not? So that's the little mini character sketch on Faith Greenleaf. Oh, and also just to say that after she told Gigi what Uncle Mac had did to her, she recanted her story, which is also a trend in this nasty, nasty cycle. So that's pretty much it. We don't know much about Faith yet. I'm sure as the story goes on and the more that we learn about the other characters, and for me, Gigi and Sophia in particular, we'll learn more about Faith through them. So since we talked about Faith, we might as well talk about Uncle Mac. Uncle Mac is Robert Mac McCready, or as I like to refer to him, Uncle Devil. And Uncle Devil is portrayed by actor Greg Allen Williams. And I often say, when you have an actor or an actress who plays a horrible person so well that even though you know it's just a show and this is just scripted, you despise them anyway, then they do a very good job. So Greg Allen Williams does a very good job of portraying Uncle Devil, because I cannot stand him. He is the absolute worst, and he knows it and he doesn't care, which makes it 1,000 times worse than what it already is. But Uncle Mac, I think Uncle Mac's an attorney. Uncle Mac's an attorney, was just Memphis Man of the Year. And Uncle Mac got some demons and devils with him, which is probably why he's passing it on. And when he attempts to threaten Mavis with eminent domain and closing her bar if she doesn't ring Gigi in, she kind of addresses that. And she says, I don't know what mama did to you or daddy or whatever, because I definitely had my share of pain from both of them, but unlike you, I didn't go passing it on. And I'm just wondering what happened to him. And then later on we find out that McCready Senior, the father, is a fall down drunk and a gambler who left their mother. And but then it gets a little interesting, and I guess we'll have to, with the script, delve into that as well, because in order to understand Faith and what she went through, we're going to have to understand Uncle Devil and what made him who he is. So he says that when he was 12, his older sisters, being Lady May and Aunt Mavis, had already left home. And so he was the only one at home, and his mother always referred to him as Mom's little man and said he was the man of the house. So when he got a girlfriend at 12, Mom was not interested in sharing her attention. And so he went out for a walk with his little girlfriend. You're like, oh, they 12. Ain't that cute? And then said when he got home, Mom's was pissed. Like, I know you did not go out and spend all day with this little 12-year-old heifer or whatever. And so she goes into the kitchen and tears it up and then expects him to clean it. And when he tells her that he is not going to, she gets pissed and goes out and gets pissy drunk. On the way home, she sees a train that is stopped. And so she assumes that because the train is stopped, it's safe to cross the train tracks, not seeing that one train has hit another. And in fact, that's the name of the episode in which we find all this out. And as the train comes from behind the first train, she's hit and killed. And I guess Uncle Mac has some demons with that, and he feels guilty about, you know, upsetting her to the point where she went out and got sloppy drunk and then ended up getting killed. But my question is, was Mom McCready Uncle Devil's devil? Because I have heard and I've seen in movies where females who refer to their sons or, you know, a young boy as a man or the man of the house also expect him to take on manly roles in the bedroom. So it makes me wonder, did Mother McCready molest Mac, and therefore he's, instead of breaking that cycle, continuing that cycle by raping these young girls? And stranger things have happened than that. That is so, could be very likely. And I know most of the time when we think of child molesters, we don't think of women, which is a problem, which is why a lot of them get away with it, because nobody expects them to do it. So I wonder if that is that. But there's just some shiesty stuff going on as far as the church, this business, and aside from the fact that, you know, Uncle Devil is a baby rapist who's got his eye on the little girl in the condo and maybe his nieces or his great nieces, after, you know, he's pretty much caused the death of one niece, and little girls in the church, he just running through, you know. So right now, the victims that we know of are Faith, Danielle, and Vita. But as they said, he's using the scholarship as hush money. And I think it's what, 15 women every year for 10 years. So he's had his pick if he's having anything to do with any more of these scholarships than the two we know. And he handles a lot of things for Bishop. And we find out when the audit comes through that there are some things they don't want revealed in a personal audit, which makes me think, you know, what are all of them up to? Because Bishop's like, when were you going to tell me? When I went to jail? Well, Bishop, what the hell did you do that would warrant jail time? Because if y'all are legit and on the up and up and serving God the way you're supposed to and doing things the right way, there's nothing that's going to be revealed in an audit that is going to put you in jail. So what's the tea? And we'll find that out eventually, I'm sure. So, and I don't know the actor's name who portrays Faith, so I'll have to look that up and find out. But, yeah, so who's next? Auntie M, Mavis, Miss O herself. And she is so good. I mean, not that we don't already know this from the first time that we ever seen Oprah on screen acting as Sophia in The Color Purple. She was amazing, and that has not changed. But it's so funny because it's like she embodies the character and she actually changes. So when I'm looking at her, it's not even Oprah, it's really Auntie Mavis. It's the craziest thing ever. But it's just like the mannerisms, the voice, the tone, the inflection, everything changes and she becomes Mavis. So Auntie M, she's another character that we don't get to see too much screen time with, so we don't know much about. We do know that she's the sister of Lady Mae and Uncle Devil, and that she owns a bar on Beale Street called Auntie M's, and she's pretty much the black sheep of the family, and she does her own thing. But in the 20 years that Gigi's been away from home, it's implied that those two have remained in touch with each other. And for Gigi, Auntie Mavis is that's her sanctuary, I guess you would say, because as a teenager she went there just to see if what her mother said about her aunt was true, and then upon finding out that it wasn't, they bonded. And we do know that there is some kind of history between James, and when I say James I mean Bishop Greenleaf, and Mavis. It's something there, because they meeting all in secret and walking arm in arm and talking about, you know, did I miss out on my life? That's what he asked her, and she referenced, you know, one train moving and another one coming, and I'm just like, what is that all about? And because there is this weird, hateful, mean and nasty relationship between Lady Mae and Gigi, I have been trying to figure out why. So in my head I've come up with a gazillion scenarios, and one of those scenarios is that Mavis is actually not Gigi's auntie but her mother, and Lady Mae and James raised her because James is really her father, because I believe Mavis and James was hitting either during James and Mae or before. Something is there. They a little bit too buddy and a little too comfortable. Don't nobody really be that cool with their brother-in-law like that. I mean, I was, you know, but they don't hang out, you know. So that made me wonder. So I'm wondering what it is and why Mavis told Gigi as a child, or not Mavis, why Mae told Gigi as a child that Mavis was like this bad person and to stay away from her. So I'd like to know that, and what their relationship is as well. So we dig a lot into the McCready family in order to understand what is going on, even though the family is the Greenleafs. It's really, you know, about the McCreadys and the Greenleafs, and what damages were done to the McCready family that have the generational curse factor in the Greenleaf family. So let's see, the next character would be Charity. And Charity is portrayed by, hold on, let me dig, Deborah Joy Winans of the Amazing Gospel Winans. So her character, I don't know what I think about her. I'm like, she's a bit childish when she snaps at Gigi not to, you know, be on her bandwagon and not to try to have her back, and I'm just like, why? And you will find that the undertone is that everybody has a problem with Gigi coming back. Gigi is a threat to everyone, and you don't know why. And this is, I guess, not an exception for Charity, because she's also like, hey, you know, Gigi's back, I gotta put makeup on for dinner. Gigi's back, I gotta make up some sermons that I pretend been working on, and I got this pretend series about the 12 seasons of a Christian marriage, and it's only 4 seasons in a year, but I just made that up too. I don't know. So she's got her insecurities when it comes to Big Sis as well, and right now we don't know why. And she's also the minister of music at Calvary, and so she's doing that. And of course, I don't know if y'all caught that, but I said her name was Deborah Joy Winans of the Amazing Gospel Winans, so you already know she can sing, and she does on the show and on the unofficial gospel soundtrack or whatever it is. But she has a bigger problem that has come to light for the audience, but not necessarily for her just yet, and that is that her husband Kevin, who is portrayed by Ty White, is homosexual. There's no other way to put that. I don't know if it's just curiosity or what, but he ain't living for the right thing. He looking at the dude that's trying to get the homeless shelter up and going, and the dude that's trying to get the homeless shelter up and going is looking at him, and they ain't looking at each other like Christian brothers that's trying to do some good Christian stuff. They looking like, you know what, you cute, I find you attractive type of thing. So Kevin has not, you know, admitted to himself really that he's homosexual, so he has not, of course, admitted it to anyone else. And when he starts to have these homosexual feelings, which kind of pisses me off, when he starts to have these feelings and he starts to question, you know, his reaction to the guy and the reaction of the gay guys in the bar who sent them drinks after his little karaoke, he says, let's start a family. Why is that your go-to? You Gary mess up everything. You Gary break this girl's heart, and you're probably getting ready to leave. So why we gonna bring children into the mix? So they decide to let's start making a baby, and then in the end they end up making 2. So now they have twins on the way, and he's scanning through Plenty of Fish or some mobile website looking at shirtless men. So like I said, Charity's got other things to worry about than Gigi being home and preaching and making up series. She better make up some heterosexualness in her husband, or make up that she going to be by her damn self with some twins. And that's pretty much it for them. They not too fleshed out. Oh, but they are a little more fleshed out than that. But because Kevin is really, he has a heart for the homeless shelter and making sure that goes well and that the people are as comfortable as possible, because he said that when his father left them, his mother and him were homeless for a period of time, and he tries to make all of the people who come into the shelter at Calvary feel the way he wished that he felt during that time, that just, you know, taken in and cared for and not just thrown away. And Charity, being a minister of music, has fired her choir director Nigel because he thought that he was the minister of music in his mind, and she had to remind him that he wasn't, and that you know, there's that. So she fires Nigel, and he goes over to Triumph with the fine Pastor Skanks over there at Triumph, and she hires, God, what's his name, Carlos, something like that. She hires Carlos, and Carlos is straight up, let me put it out on the table because I've had a problem in previous positions. I don't want to have that problem here, so let me just go ahead and tell you straight up, I'm gay, and I have a partner, and if I'm working here and, you know, a part of this ministry here, then my partner's gonna come to the church. So she's like, that's not a problem for me. However, Kevin thinks that it's going to be a problem because he's out. Not so much that he's gay, because Nigel was gay and anybody with eyes could see that as well, but because he's open about it, which I think is dumb, because them secrets is what causes problems. I'd rather you just be out anyway. And I mean, it's obvious anyway. And one of my best friends is gay, and he honestly believes that if you don't confirm and tell people that you're gay, then they don't know. That ain't always the truth. And in the case of Nigel and Carlos, that's not the truth. Anybody who looks at them already knows they're gay. I feel like once Kevin comes out to Charity, it's going to be messy for a minute, which it should be, because she's going to feel hurt and used, and she's going to feel some type of way. And I don't blame her, because he knew from the jump that he was having feelings in different directions. And even if it were another woman, he should have, you know, come clean and told her, as opposed to saying, hey, let's start a family. Because now not only are you attracted to men, I'm pregnant with twins, and we're going to have to go through that. Now, I think the saving grace for them is going to be the fact that I honestly believe they love each other, and I think they're friends. And that may help carry them through the process of parenting these twins once he's either found out or comes out. So there is that. So that's pretty much it for them. So who do I have left? Who have I run through? I guess we get into the big dogs now. Okay. Well, Bishop James portrayed by actor Keith David. Bishop James is like Gigi's his favorite. That's obvious. That's obvious to his kids. It's obvious to his wife. I don't know if Gigi really relishes in it, but it's obvious to everyone around. And so it seems like that's why everybody's kind of up on pins and needles. Ooh, Gigi back, Gigi back. Because they know she has influence with daddy they don't have. And that includes Lady May. That's why she feels some type of way. It's finna rain. Gotta love it. But he's the bishop and he's sick. There's something going on with him, which is the reason that he will not do television, even though he didn't set Jacob down and got Jacob believing it's just because Jacob then got on his last nerve, and that's why he won't do it, because Jacob suggested it. But it's not that. There's something medically going on with him that only him and Lady May are aware of, and he will not tell the children, and he will not let her tell the children what that is going on. I believe that the bishop loves his children. You can see that the granddaughters have him wrapped around their little fingers when he doesn't snitch on them for sneaking out to the protest over the death of Kenny Collins. But I think he's shysty, and I'm like, you know what, I come and go with the bishop because I really truly believe that the bishop is a man of God who's after God's heart. But then when you hear about the shysty stuff with the audit, and you know, why are they worried about things coming out, and you know, when Deacon Sykes accuses him of being more interested in the checks than the balances, and you seem like he really is, because he's worried about, you know, a jet, and he's worried about a pool and a community center. Not that a pool and a community center are bad things for a church, because they're not, but you know, they're things that takes money. And he has this round table who's giving him 10 grand over their tithes a year, and I think they're giving it to him as a love offering, so that it's not been claimed on his taxes for years. So that's something there that we need to look into. So we need to find out what's going on with Bishop. We need to want to know what's going on with Bishop and Auntie Mavis, and what's that about, and what is this that Lady May refers to, because she didn't refer to it twice. If you pay attention, she didn't refer to it twice. When he made the joke about hiring the Jacksons' granddaughter, and the Jacksons are the people in the church that they won the Powerball, but he hires their granddaughter to take Alexa's place after he fires her for sleeping with Jacob. And he makes the comment that he was picking somebody that his son would leave alone. And Lady May was like, don't act like that, because you did your little dirt too. And I want to know what he did. And I'm sure everybody else want to know too. What exactly was that little bit of dirt that he did? And then again, she mentions it when she's talking to Insecure Isabel and making the wedding plans and talking about how grand it's going to be. And Insecure Isabel, being her normally insecure self, asked Lady May if she thinks that Noah is still carrying a torch for Gigi. And Lady May said, well, excuse my disloyalty. Why? You ain't never loyal to the girl, no way. So why should today be any different? And why should we excuse your bad parenting and bad behavior? We don't. But anyway, she says, excuse my disloyalty, but I would say that, you know, Noah is in love with you and happy to have you on his arm. And that thing with Grace was 20 years ago. And she said, yeah, but they were talking about getting married. And Lady May says, but that was 20 years ago. You know, they were kids. That thing's dead. You are secure in your position. Lies, she tells. But anyway, so she also goes on to refer to married men with cold feet who start running through the what did she call it, heartbreak Rolodex or heartbreak or something, and carry you with them, and said that Bishop carried her through some stuff before, you know, and that's just natural. No, it's not. Hell, you get that from. But anyway, I'm wondering what Bishop done, and I believe what Bishop done was Aunt Mavis. Just my thought. That's what I think he did. But we don't know what that is yet. But I honestly believe, though, looking at Lady May and Bishop James, that they love each other. I really think they love each other. More importantly, that they still enjoy each other. They have fun, even though they don't agree very often. When you see them in those moments of alone time, when it's just the two of them, and you know, all of the pretenses of the church hierarchy are not there, and it's just James and May being James and May. I honestly believe that they love and respect each other. They just don't always agree, and Lady May ain't got no problem about telling him when she don't agree, and she feels some type of way about the favoritism that he shows Gigi. And if it was just general parenting concern, like, you know, we got 4 children, we got 3 children left, why are you showing favoritism to one and not the other? That would be one thing, but it's not. It's something else there that, I don't know, it just seems like she almost just attacks her. She just hates her. And you're like, for what? What mother could feel that way about their child and just at every turn say something nasty and hurtful to him? And that is Lady May. She does that. So I don't know what that is, and you don't really know too much about Lady May. You don't know much about her background, except that she comes from a broken home and that she got daddy issues. And of course, like I said, we're wondering, you know, if Uncle Mac being a monster is a generational curse. So we're wondering who hurt him, who turned him into who he was, and also why Lady May don't like her daddy, and why her daddy said, after calling her a high yellow whore, you know, as if that were not bad enough, saying she wasn't his daughter. So that's some stuff, you know, we need to find out. Did drunk daddy leave when he found out that May wasn't his child, you know, or was he just a drunk asshole who caused all kinds of problems? And did he rape his daughter? So, you know, if she's not his, and I've heard this and it's sickening, and I have heard this though, for people who are abused, and they may be abused by a step parent or something like that, or family that's family but not blood, and they think it's okay because they're not blood related. And I'm thinking, you know, because he did say that she was not his daughter, and because she vehemently wanted him out of that church, don't want him in the building, got security with his picture, like, don't ever let him in here, and smack Mac for giving him money. I'm just like, it's something there. He has done something to her to bring out that reaction, and it is something bad. And at that point, she was like, you know, what else could it be, considering we're dealing with this, and we know this type of stuff is a generational curse, and it goes down the family through lines and lines and lines. And it made me think, just like I said, you know, it's something with Mavis and James, and maybe Auntie M is actually mommy to Gigi. It also made me think that maybe Bishop is not Grace's dad, and maybe Daddy, what's his name, Daddy McCready is, and that could make her look at her daughter and loathe her. Not that it would be her fault, but these are also things that are not uncommon. If you look at your child and you see your rapist, it makes it hard for you to look at your child, hard for you to love your child, and hard for you to accept your child. Not saying it's all right, just saying that it's reality. And in one instance, when it was, you know, made known that Gigi was going to preach, Lady May comes to her bedroom, you know, and excuses herself for waking her up and all this bull hockey that she do. And you already know when she comes to the room, you kind of feel a little bit, and you tense up because you're like, something, she gonna do something wrong, something is not going to be right here. And what she does is pretty much chastise Gigi before the sermon by saying, don't chastise us, don't use that pulpit to reprimand your father and me. And I'm like, what is she going to reprimand them for? And I'm sure that'll come out eventually. And somehow I think it's more than not acting on Faith's allegations, though they came through Gigi and Faith recanted. Somehow I think it's more than that, because I mean, you know, she can only be so mad with them because Faith recanted and said she made it up. But at the same token, I mean, they are really concerned, because Bishop says it's our fault. I'm not blaming you, I'm blaming us both for Faith's death. And then she says, don't you get up in that pulpit and use it as a switch to punish your father and me, especially when he's not here. And Grace asked the question that I had been asking since the show started. Say, Mama, do you love me at all? And that hurt me. If you got to ask your mother something like that, and after the episodes that led up to it, it was a necessary question that needed to be asked, and I honestly didn't believe the answer. And she was, of course, but I love your father and I love this church too. That ain't what I asked you, Mom. I asked you about me, and why do you come at me like you do? And she, you know, she says that she does, but she's Lady Mae manipulative. She works her game. Sometimes it's for good, sometimes it's for evil. But just like Bishop James, I honestly believe that Lady Mae has a heart for God. It's just we all have that human side, regardless of what we believe and what faith and religion we are. We have that human side, and I think her human side loves having money, because what she said, never again will she fly coach. Thank you, Jesus. So I mean, you know, she done got used to the finer things, and she wants to stay there. Not that I could blame her, because Lord knows if I lived where she lived and I had what she had, I'd be trying to hold on to it. I'm trying to hold on to what little bit I got. So I'm like, I can understand that, and I believe, you know, they worked from a storefront church to a mega church, and, you know, as the first lady, she has had a hand in helping Bishop Greenleaf build Calvary up to what it is. He didn't do it by himself. He had a team, and I'm sure his first teammate was Lady Mae. But I want to know why her and Mac are so close, but she hates her daddy and she don't fool with Mavis. So I want them to get a little more into the McCready family and find out what their tea is, because, you know, I think once we understand where everybody's coming from, it'll make the family situation more obvious, and you'll be able to understand it more. It's like, you know, how come she treats Gigi the way she does, why she's alienated from one sibling but close to the other, when those of us on the outside are like, hey, Auntie Mavis cool, Uncle Devil is the devil. I mean, why you hang with him? You know, why you even let him be in the church and sit in the pulpit? I'm like, what is he? Is he a deacon? I don't even know deacons that sit in pulpits, but I guess like at other churches they might do stuff different. At my church, I ain't never seen that. Pastors and associate pastors sit in the pulpit. Everybody else has their designated area, but you're not sitting up there. So what is Uncle Mac's job at the church aside from the attorney? I don't know. And that's that. So that's my character sketch on those. And did I say that Lynn Whitfield, the amazing, the incomparable Lynn Whitfield, is Lady Mae Greenfield? If I didn't, then shit, Greenfield. Lord, I ran that together. Greenleaf, Lady Mae Greenleaf. But if I didn't, she is. And so there's that. And I'm gonna save the best for last, and I'm gonna do my character sketch of Grace Gigi Greenleaf, and she gets her own segment. So she will be segment 4.